In this mini lecture, I'm going to walk you through the analysis and findings section of your research paper. Just as a refresher, in the left column, you can see what you put together last semester. You had the title page, the abstract, the introduction, lit review, methodology, and reference pages. In this spring semester, we are adding the analysis and findings and discussion section to that paper that you wrote last semester. So you'll combine them both and update the verbiage in the in your proposal to say it was completed, not I am going to do, I will be doing, now you have done. So you want to update that in your paper. The analysis and findings section includes three major sections: the demographic statistics, results, and additional analysis. Each of these should be included as major headings in your paper, so first level headings. Within the demographics section of the analysis and findings section, you want to communicate clearly the demographic statistic that you collected to describe the sample. This is not the descriptive statistics of your findings. It's rather the statistics that describe your sample. For example, in the resiliency survey, we asked participants about their age and the number of years that they have been enrolled in higher education. If we were to write the demographic statistics section for the work that we've been doing, collecting the resiliency study, this is what I would write. Again, this is a previous study that was done. So, of the students enrolled in the social work statistical analysis, 19 students participated in resiliency study. 32 participants were between the ages of 18 to 25, 26%, and 5 were between 26 and 35 years of age, and students who were 36 of age or older were in the highest majority, 42%. According to the college website, during the year, these students were enrolled in the majority. According to the college website, during the year, these students were enrolled. The majority of students within the population were 18 to 24-year-olds. Please see Table 1. So Table 1 describes the college population by age group. And here, the majority reveals that 18 to 24-year-olds is the majority of the population of the college itself. Had I really thought ahead, I might have wanted to match the categories that I used so that I could compare them directly with both the state college, the main college population, and the social work student population. If I had done this, my table would look like this. So have the sample. So we had few under the age of 18 that were unable to participate. We had 18 to 24-year-olds within our sample, and this is the population. So we're comparing the population, where you can clearly see that the majority of social work students fall within the 25 to 39-year-olds, and the population percentage is the highest is 18 to 24-year-olds. So we do not look, our results cannot be generalized to the population. So I'd go on to say about my paper then, I would say that when asked how many years they have been enrolled in higher education, post-K, they reported between 4 and 8 years. See Table 2. The majority of participants were split between 4 years and 8 years, 26% each. Table 2 then describes the frequency and percentages of the sample's years in higher education. You want to be as thorough as possible, but sometimes these sections are not very long, depending on how much demographic measures you've collected. So that was demographics. Now the results section of the analysis and findings You will report on the data that answers your research questions and report whether you accept or reject the null hypothesis. So, because the results section will have a subheading for each of the research questions / hypotheses, an introduction for the results section is needed. So therefore I wrote, this study examined 3 research questions relating to resilience and stress scores among social work students. This paper will describe and answer one of them at a time. I then used level 2 heading to describe that I'll be discussing the first research question and hypothesis. Thus, I labeled it stress levels of Holmes and Rahe stress scale. Then I described the research question. So to examine the distribution of scores, the researcher examined the frequency histogram and found that both the mean, the median, and the mode fell within the highest bin. And so here I'm using a figure to really reveal the histogram for the readers to also see. Then I would continue to write, stating, to answer this research question, the researcher examined the frequency and percentage of participants within each stress level within the Holmes and Rahe stress scale. According to descriptive statistics, a table as displayed in Table 3, the moderate level of stress was the most frequent level that senior social worker students fell within. So Table 3 then describes the frequency of senior social work students in the Holmes and Rahe stress level scales. Next, I will describe and answer the research question for the test of difference. So the second research question asked, is there a difference in resilience total between the various senior social work students' age groups? In seeking to determine the answer, the researcher hypothesized that there is no difference in resilience total between the various senior social work students' age groups. All 19 students completed this question. There were 25 Likert type scale questions that comprised this resilience total, making the top score, or a person with the highest resilience, equaling 175. The senior social work students scored a mean of 133.26, a median of 129, and a mode of 126. The values ranged from 112 to 157. The standard deviation was 11.15. As noted earlier in demographic statistics, the age ranges included 18 to 25, 26 to 35, and 36 plus. An ANOVA analysis of variance was used to examine the statistical difference between the 3 groups, and the results indicated that there's no statistical difference. F equals 1.86, with a between of 2 and within of 15, and a p is less than 0.05 equaling 0.83. Therefore, this researcher accepts the null hypothesis that states there is no difference between the various age groups regarding the resilience total. Remember to use third person, this researcher, in these sections. The resilience total and Holmes and Rahe stress scales. Finally, I will describe how to answer the question that includes the test of relationships. The research question asked, is there a relationship between resilience total and Holmes and Rahe stress scale for senior social work students' age groups? In seeking to determine the answer, the research hypothesized that there's no relationship between resilience total and Holmes and Rahe stress scale scores for senior social work students' age groups. Of the 19 students who completed the survey, only 18 completed both resilience question and HRSS. A Pearson R was utilized to examine the statistical relationship between resilience total and Holmes and Rahe stress scale total, and the results indicated that there was not a strong statistical relationship. It was found that R equals 0.27 and 7% of the variance of the HRSS can be influenced by the resilience total. Therefore, this researcher accepts a null hypothesis that states there is no relationship between resilience total and Holmes and Rahe stress scale scores. The additional results section is optional and is helpful if you have more amazing data that you've collected. However, the data wasn't needed to accept or reject a hypothesis. So if you find after you've written your hypothesis and you get all this beautiful data back and you go, oh, I want to run this test too, you can try a different test, and this is where you do the additional. So if I wanted to showcase how a t-test would be reported within a results section, I could add it here. Some additional analysis was conducted and analyzed. When examining the difference between resilience and age group, this researcher wondered if there was a difference between what is typically known as traditional learners, 18 to 25, and their counterparts, the adult learners, 26 plus. Therefore, a t-test was conducted to see if there was a statistical significance. Unfortunately, t with 16 degrees of freedom, there was a 0.06 and a p-value of 0.05 two-tailed, thus reporting no statistical significance. So your final research paper is the information that only you have, and share what you found. So finally, a reminder that I'm looking for a title page, a reference page if you used any citations. I'm looking for the results to match the type of research question and a hypothesis. And this may not be a very long paper, but as a reader, it should be clear what I'm examining, so walk me through it step by step. I don't want to see the results of your hard work. I can't wait to see the results of your hard work in collecting and analyzing all this data.